behind the scenes with future country rock blues kings and queens. Discover them first with Palm Mash TV. Palm Mash TV.
Well, hello there. It's Palm Mash TV time again. Thank you so much for joining us. We got a great interview coming up shortly. But don't forget about the subscribe button and bells below you there. And check out the description below you there. And it's going to have all the contact info for you there. And it's repeated at the closing credits at the end of the show. So stay tuned for that. And also leave a comment if you'd like. From Marble, North Carolina, we have Jen today. She's a very talented artist, and I think you're going to agree. And we'll get to that in just a second, but first here's a quick word from Galtar, the guitar made specifically for a woman. So don't go away, we'll be right back, right after this.
Ready in 5.
Darling, when nothing else seems to match up. Galtar, the musical apparel that fits any outfit. Galtar, bringing heaven to earth, one gal at a time. GaltarHeaven.com.
Okay, we're back, and with us from Marble, North Carolina today, we have Jen. Thanks for joining us, Jen.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
Yeah, no problem. We're glad to have you here today. So how did it all begin for you? I mean, I'm sure you've always wanted to be a singer since you were little. Maybe it goes deeper than that, but tell us your story.
Well, I've been playing music since I was probably about 3 years old. I come from a long line of musicians and writers and performers. My grandfather, he was a poet and a beautiful writer, a very prolific writer. My uncle was a drummer. So I was raised in a household where music and writing was just part of the normal daily process. So my uncle sat me on his lap one day and he put me behind that drum set, and it just sparked an interest in me. From there, I went on to play in the marching band in high school. And shortly after high school, I decided to move back home to the Florida Keys and pursue a career in music, where I performed full time, just everywhere, between Key West and the Florida Keys to Miami. And then I began touring with Nick Carter of the Backstreet Boys and did a little bit of songwriting for him. And just music has just always been a part of my life and who I am. So it wasn't a surprise to me that I ended up with a long career, and just it just turned into who I am. You know, it's not so much like I put on a uniform and I go to work every day. It's just music is part of my soul. It's part of who I am, and yeah, I like it. It's been an interesting ride.
Oh, okay. Well, that's quite a story there. And you mentioned Nick Carter, the Backstreet Boys. Yeah, they was he's definitely a legend when it comes to music because of his group there. And did you ever look up to him? And if so, who else did you look up to? You know, that inspired you to be the artist you are today.
Absolutely. I look up to Nick very much. I admire his professionalism. He's an incredible vocalist and entertainer. He's a great songwriter. I definitely looked up to Melissa Etheridge as well. She's been one of the artists that I've followed for most of my life. And I think she's an incredible vocalist, an incredible songwriter. She just has the ability to bring a story to life with her music. So, yeah, I would say those two have been some of my two biggest influences.
Yeah, Melissa Etheridge, yeah, no, like you said, yeah, she's really great at what she does. And well, tell everybody how we can find your music. I mean, I'm sure it's on all streaming platforms, but tell us about your social media and official websites, if any. That way, people can check you out if you're ever in concert sometime.
Sure, you can find my information at jensmusic.com. I am also on TikTok, which is under Jen's Music Official. And then I'm also on Facebook as Singer Jen. So any of those platforms, you can reach me on there. It's Yeah, Jen's music will lead the way though. That'll have the links to the song that you can purchase, and it'll also have some touring details, calendar. You can message me through there, um, and pdpeteentertainment.com as well.
Okay. Are you in any of the streaming platforms, so like Apple Music and so forth, or?
Yes, the new single is on Apple Music. It is on Spotify and it is on Amazon. You can find it under A Little Piece of Heaven by Jen.
Okay. All right. Well, do what she says. I'm sure she would love you for that if you checked all that out for her. And like she just mentioned a second ago, A Little Piece of Heaven is the actual song we're going to be playing now. Tell us a little bit about the song. I'm sure there's quite a story behind that song.
There sure is. The song is basically about lust and desire. And when you have a connection with somebody and you know that there's nothing else and no one else for you, it's a story about basically looking at the person and knowing exactly what you want, exactly who you are, and being confident enough to be like, hey, wow, you're incredible. And at the end of the day, it's all about having patience and drawing out that love, because sometimes like to get a little bit ahead of ourselves when we're having some adult fun, and we forget to savor that moment. So this song is about just that, savoring that moment, savoring that love, and making the person that you love feel desired and wanted. And it carries you through that whole journey from start to finish, from the minute you look in their eyes to the moment where your fantasies come to life. That's
Yeah,
what
and it is a great song, and you're going to get a taste of that in just a moment. But before we get into that, Jim, we want to thank you so much for being on the show today. We'd love to have you back a second time if you have anything new to plug for us.
Absolutely. Thank you, Paul. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. And here it is, A Little Bit of Heaven, and it starts right now.
Uh-huh.